Hi, it's Michael. Aging gracefully is very possible. As it is said, the source of life is not interested in our suffering, pain, discomforts, poor health, and so on. The source of life resonates to is peace and love, and that's it. It is up to us to choose our life path, how we treat our health. That determines how our aging progresses. To address good health, to help create the conditions that are the most conducive to joyful, happy, vibrant old age, requires addressing all three aspects of our good health, and that is the physical, the mental, which includes emotional, and spiritual. Physical, mental, and spiritual, they all need to be addressed in order to give the best conditions for good health to flourish. First, let's look at the mental and spiritual. They kind of overlap in some instances. So, as it is said, love and peace is our true nature. Inside of us is, so to speak, a fire of joy and love burning. It's up to our choices if we allow it to shine, to give light throughout our life. People who lose zest, spark for life, they shut themselves to this fire, to this internal fire, and they decay. We can see it all around us. So many elderly people are like walking zombies. Even if they are physically kind of okay-ish, you can see it in their eyes, in their faces, that they are more like walking zombies, walking death, than a vibrant, bright, wise elderly person. And it doesn't need to be like that. That's the choice of the person to be like that, whether conscious or subconscious. This zest for life can be kind of mental, as in, for example, a person, whether retired or still working, is looking forward to going to nature or to meeting children, grandchildren, friends, and having fun with them, hoping for good health, hoping for this or for that, or being engaged in a community and contributing by volunteering or by whatever way contributing to community. This is all wonderful, and it is mostly mental, emotional, and it works, yet it works only to a certain point. The mental can be taken away from us very easily. All it takes is an accident, an incident, or whatever. For example, this vibrant, happy person is volunteering in the community and is so laughing and jovial and friendly and helpful to the community, and then the person loses mobility, for example, or something happens, an accident, incident, and the person cannot go out, cannot participate anymore, and all of a sudden this mental hoping, this mental upbeat is stopped. And then what's left? So if it's only mental, then what's left is nothing, and then the person decays. Then the person loses interest in life, says, I have nothing to live for anymore, I cannot go out, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. What is there to live for? So this is the mental part, and again, it can work, but it is artificial. It is artificial. The true part that can never ever be taken away from us, from you, is the spiritual part. It's the internal fire that is not dependent on outside conditions. And whether you are by yourself in the middle of Alaska, or you are at a railway station, or whatever, it doesn't change. Okay, and so how to attain to this, how to get to this point. And it's kind of funny to say that, because the mental part takes a lot of effort. We have to put a lot of effort to it, while the spiritual part, the internal flame of joy and love and happiness, is inside of us all the time. It is there right now. It's there inside of me right now. It's there inside of you right now. If you feel it and if you allow it to shine forth is another matter, but it's there right now. So all we need to do is just let go of the mental processes and center, come to our center. Stop employing thoughts about the future and about the past, and come to our center. And when we are centered, when we are aware, when we are in the present moment, then automatically this flame of joy and happiness and love shines through us. Now, perhaps you've been so invested in your mental processes, in your intellectual thinking, in your intellectual working, in your intellectual being, that you say, okay, but how do I center? So to give a quick example, you can do this exercise. You can do it right now as you hear this voice talking. So empty your mind. You can listen, that's fine, that's passive, that's very yin. So empty your mind, no think about anything. Take a deep breath. Your mind is emptied. And exhale, breathe out, and as you're breathing out, completely internally relax. Completely let go internally, completely relax. And observe your awareness. In that moment, you are centered. You are dead centered. Actually, you are life centered. You are alive centered. So breathing is one of the keys to being centered. Whenever you see your mental processes to take off, whether rehashing the past or thinking about the future, then centering by breathing, deep, relaxed breathing, and relaxing. And you can smile. In that moment, there is complete peace. Your mind can start protesting eventually, because your mind doesn't like peace, but in that moment is deep peace, and that is your true nature. And it is obvious, if it would not be your true nature, you couldn't get to this point. You could not get to that point. And it is obvious that mental processes are not your true nature, because they are tiring. They are so tiring that at the end of the day, intellectual people are exhausted and they have to go and sleep, right? While with while being centered, you are very relaxed, you are fresh, you are vibrant, and your system, your body, mind system needs much less sleep. And it is good to remember that if you succumb to the mental processes and resentment, anger, shame, guilt come up, these are the emotions that contribute to covering up this flame of joy and peace and love that's inside of you. They are extremely destructive. So, for example, people can be resentful and angry about their state of health. Look at me, I'm crippled, and they are resentful, and always the resenting, the anger is turned against perceived God, against the world, or against the person himself. So always victimizing something, projecting perpetrator and victim. So it is good to be aware of it. Don't go for it. That's not the true you. Your true you is in that state. That is your true you. And nobody can take it away from you ever. So that's the spiritual and mental. So to maintain gracefulness right to the last breath of your physical body, you need to have a zest, spark for life. Okay. Then there is the physical. So physical exercise, moderate exercise is extremely important. And what is the best physical exercise? Walking. And walking from the armchair to the fridge and back is okay, but it really doesn't count. Walking needs to include longer walking where the body continuously moves for, well, it depends on the health of your body, maybe half an hour, maybe more at a time. And as good as walking is, it exercises a lot of joints, yet the upper body is exercised, but not completely. So it's very beneficial to include a 15-20 minute daily exercise routine. Very simple exercises are good enough. And doing them daily, no excuses. After you wake up, you drink, you go to the bathroom, you come back and you start doing these exercises, gentle, simple exercises. For example, moving your fingers, moving the hands, the forearms, the whole arms. This exercises your joints, and of course doing enough repetitions. Swinging the arms in and out, up and down, and then up and down this way, twisting gently but from side to side, listening to the body while doing it. This exercises the joints, the body. It doesn't need to be complex, it doesn't need to include the weights, even though light weights can be helpful, but it doesn't have to. Gravity and enough repetitions are okay enough. All right, so exercising, not giving up on that. People and going out, either nature or parks or wherever you find it beautiful, and as it is said, employing beauty as much as you can. Beautiful music, classical music, beautiful spiritual music. Robert Gass and On the Wings of Song, they have some beautiful high energy music, and so on. Reading beautiful books, spiritual, so-called spiritual. Spiritual is not religious. Spiritual is just simply means true about life and about good health and that stuff, by Dr. Wayne Dyer, by Dr. Deepak Chopra, by Osho, by Dr. David Hawkins, employing as much beauty as you can, and of course staying away from toxin. This is so important. I keep on saying it in all my talks. Alcohol, drugs, coffee, smoking, staying away from it. Alcohol is extremely toxic and dangerous, because it's not just the alcohol itself, it's the energy that's connected with it. All this comes into play as the body ages. Yes, it may not be as physically capable, but that's okay. We don't have to run marathons when we are 80 years old, but at the same time, the body can maintain good fitness, reasonable fitness, good mental and spiritual abilities right to the point of the last breath. Okay, so it is up to you. It is up to you. Again, as it is said by Dr. David Hawkins, and as it becomes obvious, once you start evolving spiritually, life with capital L, the source of life, is absolutely just. There is zero injustice from life against you, because we people, even subconsciously, unconsciously, emotionally interpret our painful happenings and unpleasantnesses as injustice against us. Life is not fair. I have to take care of my elder parents. I have to do this. I have to do that. I don't like it, and whatever. Life is absolutely just. As Dr. David Hawkins says, we row our own boat. We may not consciously understand why we are in the circumstances we are in right now. Maybe you have to take care of a lot of children with different problems by yourself, and it seems too much. And you may be mad at God, you may be mad at the world, you may be mad at yourself. Whatever, drop it. It's all a dangerous spiritual snare and bullshit. You are in whatever conditions you are because of your previous choices that go all the way to your conception, not conception, physical conception in this life, but your spiritual conception, which may be many, many eons and include many, many lifetimes, incarnations here on earth. So just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Again, life is absolutely just overall. So again, to age gracefully, spiritual, physical, and mental have to all be addressed. The mental is taken care of automatically if you address the spiritual, because the spiritual takes care of the mental as well. All right, so again, to take care of the spiritual, centering all the time, not worrying about the future, not rehashing the past, centering, using the breath. Relax, drop all the thinking, relax. Thinking comes, fine, don't fight it, don't resist it, don't fight it, just ignore it, like as if you're watching a TV show you are not interested in. Don't act on it emotionally, ignore it. and ask the source of life for help. Help comes, but you still have to row your own boat and stick to it. Okay? So wishing you healthy and joyful life. This is it for this talk. Mike out.